Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is 18th of July, now it's about 12 o'clock, middle of the day by Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for today, in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. For a change, I decided to make this video outside. And I do have quite good reasoning for it, because some emergency work have been done on power lines, and the entire block where we are living is out of electricity right now. So I could not record video from home anyway. And well, first of all, let me say thank to all of you that did comment under yesterday's second video, which was about 2-day trip into the mountains of North Ossetia, Alania. Thank you for your kind words. According to comments, you did like that video, mountains, and everything that I did manage to record. And well, as I did promised, I will try to make at least a couple of more extra videos before we will leave for Moscow region. And hopefully you will find those videos also interesting. One will be about local cuisine, and one video I want to make about local traditions, culture, history. Hopefully you will find that interesting also. Now let's talk about. And by the way, I don't know what happened yesterday. I guess there were some issues with YouTube, because I do understand that our channel, our community is mainly interested in news and developments, significant developments that are taking place all around the world. But still, yesterday's second update only has about 1,200 views, which is at one hand it's okay, but in other hand, I guess YouTube algorithm did not send notifications about that second update, or I don't know what went wrong. I was expecting that video to have much more views than ordinary news updates, but it did not happen. But anyway, let's talk about news now, and I will start with one of the major news topics here in Russia, which is yet another attempt from Zelensky's regime to strike deep inside Russian territory. And this time Ukrainian armed forces did launch 28 drones simultaneously in direction of Crimea. And Russian media did report that 17 drones were shot down by Russian air defense systems, and 11 drones were suppressed by Russian radio electronic warfare systems. Which way to go, really? Let me show you river. So this is Terek river here. Hopefully sound is good. So that's of course one of the main topics in Russian media. Air defense systems did work very well. And there are no reports about casualties on the ground or about any significant damage, but damage to infrastructure. But this fact itself, that Zelensky's regime is constantly trying to hit deep inside Russian territory, of course, highlights, desperation that Zelensky and his associates really are in. And I guess this kind of attempts from Ukrainian armed forces will take place in the future. Also, unfortunately, because Zelensky and his associates, they have to do something to somehow shift attention from failed counteroffensive, and I believe that's why they did. That was one of the reasons why they did strike on Crimean bridge yesterday. And by the way, one more news, which is that Crimean bridge did reopen, and movement of transport is permitted, and I guess this damaged section of the bridge is shut down, but it's a few lines on that bridge, and well, it will be somewhat inconvenient, of course, for drivers to use just one section of the bridge, but it's better than nothing, isn't it? So, and as you know, I'm looking for some shadow to take seat. And by the way, as you know, a railway bridge was not damaged. Railway section of the Crimean bridge was not damaged, and goods and equipment have been transferred to Crimea, and from Crimea without any delays, and also passenger trains are moving without any issues. So that's also I believe interesting news. And now let's talk about some other informations. And well, by the way, yesterday, during previous night, Russian forces did conduct missile strikes on port infrastructure in Nikolaev and Odessa, and I did share information about it on my Telegram, and I believe significant damage was done. Even Zelensky's regime is acknowledging it, so I guess Russian strike was quite effective, and this strike once again highlights that Moscow was very serious when they decide to cancel this grain deal. So it was not exactly cancelled, and that's yet another news that you all are familiar with, I'm sure, that yesterday Foreign Ministry of Russian Federation and press spokesman of Russian President Dmitry Peskov did confirm Russia's decision to do not prolong grain deal. It's not exactly cancelled yet, because according to Peskov, when Russian demands will be met in regard to grain deal, then Moscow will consider to join this deal once again. But before Russian demands are met, Russia will not guarantee security of any ships that will try to move in or out of Ukrainian ports. So basically, of course, without guarantees, No one gonna dare to check willingness of a Russian Black Sea fleet to block any ships that will try to navigate towards Ukraine. So, and by the way, it's kind of funny that Zelensky's press spokesman did come up with a statement yesterday and said that Kiev wants grain deal to be prolonged, and Kiev is asking now Turkey to carry on with deal like nothing has happened, which is crazy idea, of course, and in no circumstances Turkey will agree on that, because as I said, without Moscow's permission or guarantees of security, ships cannot enter Ukrainian ports or leave Ukrainian ports. But yet again, main topic is that this grain deal that was very unpopular in Russia finally have been stopped, at least for some time, until Russian demands will be met. But I don't think Western elites will even consider to discuss these Russian demands, because they had plenty of time on their hands and they did not. And also, by the way, interesting news is that once this news broke out that Moscow will not prolong grain deal, prices on grain did rise quite significantly, about 4.5 or 4.6%. And well, traders gonna love it, of course. But yet again, we all know that Moscow made a, oh, that's a shadow, I can take a seat here. And we all know that Moscow made a statement quite a few times before that countries in need will receive grain and fertilizers from Russia anyway, with this deal or without, and Moscow will support them. So I guess Western elites would not be able to use this decision of Moscow to conduct some media campaign against Russia, one more media campaign against Russia. But even if they will try, I mean, Western propaganda is working in the West. Yes, unfortunately, majority of society in the West are under this crazy propaganda of Western elites, so-called elites, and they will believe anything that they are told from CNN or MSNBC or whatever the channels, BBC, French media outlets, and so on. But rest of the world is different, and well, outside of Western states, societies are quite well informed, and that they are mainly in support of Russia. We all know this, or at least not against Russia. So let me share with you a few more news for this update. And by the way, later on in the afternoon, I will make a second update for Patreon. So I will be immensely grateful if you will consider to join my Patreon. You will see link under this video in the description box or in the pinned comment. And well, few more news. Antony Blinken did made a comment about strike on Crimea bridge, and he said that it's up to Ukraine to decide how to fight. Basically, he did not condemn strike on civilian infrastructure, and as you know, 2 civilians were killed during this terrorist attack on the Crimean bridge. But yet again, what else you expect from State Department or current administration of US, when we all know perfectly well that during that strike, US and the UK planes were operating over the Black Sea, and I guess they were directly involved in this terrorist attack on Crimean bridge. And I'm quite sure last night's attack of Zelensky's regime on Crimea with 28 drones were also conducted with active involvement of US and UK. I'm 100% sure about this. They are provoking Moscow, man. They are Washington and London are provoking Moscow day by day, and well, unfortunately, risks are increasing that one day Moscow may respond directly to those provocations, and well, world may end up in that case very soon, very quickly, in very difficult situation. And a few more news. This one is interesting. Japan's government is planning to increase their sanctions on Russia, and they are planning to ban export of Japanese cars to Russia. Not entire ban export, but make it significantly difficult. And when I was reading that news, I was thinking, I mean, the Japanese government realized that they are hurting Japanese car manufacturers, Japanese economy, because I mean, do we really need Japanese cars in Russia? I mean, there are any shortage of supply of cars from just any place, really, from any car maker? No. And with these crazy moves, when Western or Japanese car manufacturers decide to leave Russian market, who did benefit from it? China, Chinese car manufacturers, and they are taking over. Of Russian car market, car sales market, and I guess when this conflict in Ukraine will end, and when relationships between Russia and the Western states will start normalizing someday in the future, Western companies gonna find it very, very difficult to establish themselves on Russian market once again. That's how it's gonna be. And by the way, one more information about and this is quite a significant one also, because according to TASS news agencies, in the southern regions of Europe, temperature may reach 50 degrees Celsius in next few days, which is really extreme conditions. And I believe in Italy, in Greece, and in some other southern European countries, did issue some warnings to the citizens and residents to take to take care of themselves because of these extreme weather conditions. And this heat wave is moving in the direction of Europe from Sahara Desert, I believe. So it's gonna be very hot in Europe next few days. And before I end this video, let me give you a quick summary of the situation on the front line. On the front lines, and I will start with Kherson. I will start with Kherson region. And by the way, we had information that during the previous 24 hours, Ukrainian armed forces once again did try to cross Dnieper River, and Russian Defense Ministry did report that 5 speedboats were destroyed. 5 Ukrainian speedboats were destroyed, and Up to 30 Ukrainian soldiers were neutralized during this failed attempt to cross Dnieper River. But still, there are some small units on the left bank of the Dnieper, on some islands in the Dnieper Delta. But as I said quite a few times before, they are not really posing any significant threat. Overall, situation on this sector of the front is calm, if we even can use this word. And it's mainly artillery duels and recon operations between the sides. When it comes to Zaporozhye sector of the front line and South Donetsk sector of the front line, it's also operational. Pause. Ukrainian forces do try time to time to improve their positions, but if they did not manage to breach or even reach first line of defense of Russian armed forces, they aren't gonna be able to do any good in the future, or any better in the future. This counteroffensive has been, I mean, total failure, and everyone is acknowledging this, even Western masters of Zelensky and his associates. When it comes to Donetsk direction, usually it's Marinka and Avdiivka that are hot points. Russian side are quite active to in Krasnogorovka area, which is somewhat in the middle between Marinka and Avdiivka. Unfortunately, I cannot use map right now because I'm recording on the phone this update. But overall situation is still, I guess, operational pause, because these local scale activities are not really influencing significantly overall situation on this sector of the front. And when it comes to northern sectors of the front, as you know, Russia holds initiative from Seversk to Kupiansk all along, and we are almost on daily basis now have more and more indicators that something big has been in the workings in Russian general staff, I believe, and maybe in very few weeks, next few weeks, we will see significant activization of Russian forces in Seversk direction, in Liman direction, Kupiansk direction, and by the way, even Ukrainian Defense Ministry is acknowledging that they have some significant difficulties on the northern sectors of the front, and according to Ukrainian side, Russian forces are trying to reach Oskol River, and I guess that's true, because Kupiansk city of Kupiansk is on this river, and I believe it's only a matter of time when Russian forces will enter at least left side of the Kupiansk, which is on the left bank of Oskol River. And before end of this summer, Kharkov region probably will also become a hot point, and I'm quite sure Russian forces will try to establish control over the Kharkov region also. And by the way, as I said quite a few times before, it's only a matter of time now when Ukrainian forces will start to collapse. Their last hope was this so-called counteroffensive, and they did fail. So it's only a matter of time when Ukrainian forces will end up on the breaking point, or they may already are on the breaking point. And to be honest, I don't believe that Ukraine will ever be able to conduct any more or less successful operation ever. Ukrainian armed forces are effectively done, and it's up to Moscow now when Russian forces will begin their activities and just end this horror that was taking place in Ukraine because of the Western so-called elites and their geopolitical ambitions. So hopefully, Russian side will end this conflict before end of this year, and all those Nazis and criminals and terrorists that are running and ruining Ukraine will receive proper will end up in prison. You know, that's what I want to say, and pay for all the evil that they did. So this is it for now. Hopefully you will find this update interesting, and if so, please click that like button, leave some commentary about any topic you like. More comments and more likes definitely do influence algorithm and increases my chances to reach wider audience. And if you can, please share links to my videos or my channel with your friends on Twitter, Telegram, Facebook, or any other platform that you are active on. And if you think this channel is interesting, useful, and deserves to exist, please consider to support with small donations through PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. You will see links under this video in the description box or in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care.